Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bet Right Sports Betting Podcast presented by the Six Pack Coverage Media Network. It's your host, Jeff Farrell, here with my co-host, Andrew Tanzi, coming at you to break down everything you need to know to lock in all your NFL bets for Week 15. We'll do a little Week 14 recap, and then we will go game by game, giving out all our favorite bets and player props for Week 15. And we'll finish the show with Longshots, best bets, and the Chalk Donkey Parlay making its return to action this week after a week off. Rue, how was Week 14?
Honestly, another awesome week. Week 13 was my most profitable week, and now topped by Week 14. And I know both of us definitely had a few awesome breaks go into our favor. You know, the Ravens game, the Bucks game. So we were on the right side of the luck last week. So it ended up being a pretty good week.
Yeah, same story here. Super profitable week. It was not looking very good at all through like the first half of the 1 p.m. slate. And then, like you said, that Ravens game, them covering the teaser leg, covering the +3, was all started trending good from there. So recapping last week, our debate of the week went to you. We had the Bengals and the Niners. You had the Niners. So we were all tied up at 5-5 on the year. And unlike the past few weeks, this was actually a really fun game. Like it was fun to sweat this one out. You got the win. Congrats.
Well, I think I feel like we were both right in what we were targeting. You were saying the Bengals were going to be able to expose the 49ers secondary, which they did. Burrow had a big day. And I was, saying that the 49ers were going to be able to come up with big sacks, which they did. They got 5 sacks and they had some clutch sacks and some big situations. So it was pretty, it was only fitting that game went to overtime. We were both sweating it out for our debate, but it was nice to come out on the right side. And we're just trading blows back and forth here with the debates. We really are.
No one can separate. So we'll see if we do have a debate this week. So we'll see who takes the lead. Favorite bets of the week. You got a nice win with your Ravens and Broncos teaser. The Ravens definitely made you sweat there, but you go to 9-4-1 on the year.
And like I said, the Broncos was the teaser leg of the year last year, and you did not want any part of it for some reason.
I mean, look, I think my analysis was a lot different when we were recording the show because I assumed it was going to be a semi-healthy Lions team, and then it ended up they had like 15 guys on the COVID list. Hawkinson didn't play. I mean, it was
all right. I don't know if like Hawkinson and Jamal Williams play. I don't know how much of a difference it makes, but
I mean, they at least have some guys on off. Like they make a difference. They're not like huge spread impact players in and of themselves. When you remove that many weapons from one team, like it matters. Yeah. I got an easy win on my lock of favorite bet of the week. Jaguars team total under 17. Absolutely nailed the handicap here. Vrabel had these guys fired up. I thought they were going to be able to stop James Robinson on the ground. He had 6 carries for a whopping 4 yards, and the Jaguars ran a total of 1 play inside the Titans' 20-yard line, and it was an interception thrown by Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I'm also 9-4 favorite bets of the year. So good job by us. Long shots of the week. Ooh, should we just skip this part, Rue?
Yeah, look, I'll say, so I had Jaguars money line, and, I was wrong. I thought they would be able to run the ball. It felt like they barely had the ball, honestly. And Trevor Lawrence is just, this doesn't change my stance on the Titans. It's just this Jaguars team. And I actually backed off my stance on the Jaguars just later in the week when these reports about Urban Meyer came out. So I had like a free bet in one of my accounts. I threw on Jaguars money line, but I ended up cashing out of my Jaguars +9 bet because I had no confidence after I read those reports on Urban Meyer. And, as bad as Trevor Lawrence has been, it's a lot of people want to blame Urban Meyer, and he deserves a lot of the blame, but Lawrence deserves some of the blame. He's just been, 4 interceptions last week, has 1 touchdown in the last 6 games. It's bad right now. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to end up happening with this team.
Yeah, real bad. My long shot of the week. I got a win. I go to 5-7 on the year. Thursday night football, same game parlay. Kirk Cousins, pass yards, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth touchdown, and the Steelers +8.5 covering at the buzzer. I think that was like +515. So nice long shot of the week to kick off my week. Chalk Donkey Parlay did not have one, as I mentioned. And then the prop sheet, 5-3 on the week, 95-46 overall, still over 67% hit rate. That Zach Moss late scratch, that one hurt my soul. The Bills ended up running the ball 7 times in the entire game. That would have been just the easiest cash of the season, and he gets scratched.
Yeah, tough one. I as soon as I was surprised we even got a line for Zach Moss. So I was pretty much, as soon as I saw his name, I was taking the under, and it was, it was a low line. I'm sure some people would have been scared off from taking such a low line, but yeah, there was no way that wasn't hitting if he was just active for the game.
The other thing that annoyed me was Josh Jacobs' receptions was something we talked about on the podcast, and no book posted a line for it, and he ended up with 5 catches for 46 yards.
I know. It was waiting all week for it, and
it was so weird.
Yeah.
All right, let's close it up with heroes and zeros of the week. Who do you have for hero of the week?
Easy. Tyler Huntley. He came in. It started out pretty ugly and ended up being 24-3, but my man battled back to get the late cover, not only teaser legs, but got within the +3. And that was a huge swing on my day. I had a lot of money on them in teasers, and I had a decent amount on them at +3 as well. So Tyler Huntley, my hero of the week.
Hero.
Easy.
My hero of the week, I'm going to go with Rashad Perryman. This is a guy I actually have a very large under receiving yards position on from the offseason when he was cut by the Lions. But on one single play, he cashed Bucks money line, Bucks -3, Bucks team total over. And I also had a parlay where I think Rashad Perryman anytime touchdown was like the second leg or whatever. I just threw it in as like a +500. So quite a bit of money won for me on that one play. Thank you, Rashad Perryman. Zero of the week. What do you got?
I was going to go Urban Meyer, but he's just the zero of the century. So calling him the zero of the week would be a compliment at this point. I'm going to go with Chase Claypool, that Thursday night game.
I did
exactly what I said I was going to do on the podcast, and I live bet the Steelers. I think I was about 2 plays too early. You got +7. I got +6.5. I think if we waited 2 more plays, we would have got over the 8.5. But Steelers should have had 1 or 2 extra plays at the end there in the end zone. Obviously, Freiermuth should have caught the one, but Chase Claypool, not only for the celebration, he
made the entire game.
The entire game, numerous mistakes, just absolutely was killing the Steelers. So Chase Claypool, my zero of the week.
My zero of the week is going to be Taylor Heineke. I said the footballs +4.5 was one of my favorite bets of the week last week. Unfortunately, the injury news and COVID stuff did not trend well the second we stopped recording the podcast. But, I still felt like they had a chance to cover. But Taylor Heineke was just absolutely brutal. In the first half, the footballs went 3 and out. 2-play drive ending in an interception, 6-play drive ending in a Taylor Heineke fumble, Cowboys touchdown, 3 and out, 7-play drive that ended in a punt, and the Cowboys are up 24-0 at halftime. Heineke would later go on to get hurt and get replaced by
Kyle Allen.
I was going to say Josh Allen. I don't think it was Josh Allen.
That'd be a pretty good backup.
Yeah, and the footballs were just dead. I mean, they almost came back in the end, but Taylor Heineke, if you could have just done like anything in the first half, I think I could have gotten the cover, but it's not to be. Anything left to say on week 14?
Nope.
All right. Do you have any tips of the week? Do we want to talk about any? Is there any differences in your approach now that all of this COVID news has been going crazy? Are you making any changes to how you're approaching the week, betting later, betting earlier, anything like that?
I'm trying to keep it relatively the same. If I had a tip, it would be stay near your phone because you never know when news is going to break and you can grab a line. I mean, I don't think I'm changing. I'm still trying to get on lines early when I see that I like them. At this point, I'm just, if I get on and I really want to buy out, if there's a huge movement, I will. If not, I'll just ride it out. So I don't really want to change my approach because I feel like there's still been injuries all year popping up later in the week that haven't really phased me from my normal approach. As long as it keeps working, I'll just keep sticking with what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think if you're like really risk avoidance, like you really don't want to deal with it, like you could just bet on Sundays or wait till you have all the information and then bets. I haven't really changed much. I actually think there's a lot of opportunity with all of this craziness and injuries and stuff. It's very annoying as a football fan, but as a bettor, I feel like it presents tons of opportunities to jump on lines early, catch the book sleeping, get on props when a player's ruled out, or even just play against movement. If some guy that's insignificant gets ruled out and the line moves 2 points, play against it, play back on the other side. So I think there's tons of opportunities, but many different ways you could handle this.
And there are books out there very slow to update the lines. I will not name them because I don't want any spies changing.
We would like to keep profiting off of their slowness.
So that, if you find the right book, news can break and you could have a good 5 minutes to lock in your bets on it. So
look around, keep your eyes open. All right. With that, we will jump into week 15. No more bye weeks. So full slate of games here. Thursday night football. Let's go Chiefs and Chargers. Battle that will probably decide the AFC West. The Chiefs are up a game right now, but obviously the Chargers took that game back in week 3 with a 30-24 win. They are 3-point home underdogs. The over-under is 52. Bunch of injury notes here for the Chiefs. Chris Jones is going to be out, and on the Chargers, Rashawn Slater, their tackle, is going to be out. So those two kind of cancel each other out. And then Austin Eckler, Derwin James, and Asante Samuel Jr. are all questionable for the Chargers. I think Staley said they're going to test them out pregame and see if they can go. I would assume at least Eckler goes. I don't know about James and Asante Samuel, but what do you have here? Do you have any bets on this game?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of weird line movement this week, with injuries and COVID, obviously, but this is one of those games. It was at 3, moved up to 4, 4.5, and now back down to 3. I wish I grabbed it at 4. I'm going to buy into the Chargers at some point. I just want to see. It's sitting at 3 right now. I want to see if I can end up getting 3.5 or 4 again. I just love this matchup for the Chargers, and obviously you said they beat them earlier in the year. The Chiefs did have a couple turnovers that hurt them, but I feel that teams have almost copied the Chargers defensive scheme to stop the Chiefs, which that's what they've been doing, aside from the Raiders, who refuse to do what works against the Chiefs. So look, if you take against non-Raider teams, the Chiefs offense, they haven't scored more than 20 points since October 17th. So 5 games against non-Raider teams. They scored 20 against the Broncos, but they had a defensive touchdown. So offensively, they haven't scored 20 points since October 17th. Mahomes in those games, he has had 0 300-yard passing games, 0 multi-touchdown games, 3 games with 0 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions in those 5 games. So there's just something that you're just waiting on this regression for the Chiefs offense against this defensive scheme. And I just don't think it's happening at this point. Herbert's been good against the Chiefs in the 3 games in his career. He's averaging 300 yards per game, 8 touchdowns, the 1 interception. He's 2-1 against them. Granted, one was in a Week 17 when Mahomes sat. But, I just love this matchup for the Chiefs. It worked out earlier in the year. Now I'm getting 3 points at home here. Like I said, I'm going to hold out for the 3.5 and see if I can get it. But if not, I'll buy in at the 3.
All right, we are going to be going mano in this game. I am in on the Chiefs at -3. I hear everything you said about the Chiefs offense, but you can also flip it around and make a really good case for the Chiefs defense. Over the first 9 weeks of season, they were 26th in DVOA against the pass. They were 4th over the last 5 weeks. The rush D, same story, 28th in the league over the first 9 games, 3rd since. They haven't allowed more than 17 points over the last 6 games, and I think they're going to hold the Chargers in check to a degree, and I think their offense can do enough. And I think that, that also plays into the under. I'm going to see if I can get a 52.5. I think we might get there on game day. It's been going up all week. This opened at 49.5. It's currently at 52. So I'm also going to play the under 52.5 if it appears on game day.
Yeah, see, I hear what you're saying about the Chiefs defense, but who's the anchor of that defense? It's Chris Jones. He's the difference maker, and obviously there's injuries on the Chargers defense, like you said. But another injury you didn't mention is L'Jarius Sneed is questionable for the Chiefs starting cornerback there, so another one to monitor. But I just think Chris Jones is a bigger loss than anyone the Chargers will be missing on defense, and I think that it disrupts everything in the past in terms of getting pressure and stopping the run. So that to me is just a huge loss for the Chiefs defense.
All right. We'll see who comes out on top. Any props for you in this game? This is probably one of the only games where we actually have some numbers on.
I am waiting for this number. I'm assuming we're going to get a Keenan Allen. I'm assuming it's going to be 6.5 receptions. Again, I'm going to go right back to it. I know he came up a little short last time, but Chargers still going to be passing at a high rate here, and Keenan Allen, I expect him after a week off to come right back in, getting his 10+ targets. So I like him over 6.5 receptions. And then another one that I haven't pulled the trigger on yet because it is absolutely terrifying, but Tyreek Hill under 81.5 receiving yards. He's only gone over it in 4 games this season. He went 5 for 57 against the Chargers earlier in the year, and he's only gone over this number 2 out of 6 times against the Chargers since 2018. He has 9 total targets in the last 2 games. So this might hinge on whether Derwin James and Asante Samuel play, and then maybe I'll do it if the number's still there. But there was a big discrepancy. It was 81.5 on DraftKings and 74.5 on FanDuel. So I don't know how long the 81.5 will stay there. But if Samuel and Derwin James are in, this number still over 80, I might take the under there.
I like that. Scary, but I kind of like it. I was going to be looking at Austin Eckler. I played him over 4.5 receptions and over 40.5 receiving yards. I'm assuming if he's playing, he's going to be good to go. I don't think it's going to be a situation where he's active but doesn't really get any touches. The Chiefs ranked 27th in DVOA against pass catching running backs. They allowed Josh Jacobs to go 5 for 46 last week. Both of them were season highs. The week prior, Javonte Williams went 6 for 76 and 1, also both season highs. And in their first matchup, Eckler went 6 for 52 and 1 in the passing game. So I think he can get it done through the air.
I do have one more prop I'll come back to later. A little long shot touchdown score, a nice prime time game. If you've listened to the show, you might have an inkling of where I'm going with this one.
Chad Henne.
What?
Okay, I thought I had an inkling. Moving on to Saturday. First Saturday slate of the year. Let's go Raiders and Browns. This game has been nothing but mayhem all week. The Browns opened at -6. They are now +1. The total opened at 43.5. It is now 38.5. The injury report may take me a half hour to read. Darren Waller is likely going to be out for the Raiders. On the Browns side, Kareem Hunt's out, Austin Hooper's out, Jarvis Landry's out, several offensive linemen, Wyatt Teller, Jedrick Wills, Baker Mayfield. On the defense, Troy Hill, John Johnson, their head coach, Kevin Stefanski. I don't know who's going to be playing for the Browns. Case Keenum, Nick Chubb, and Uncle Bob. I don't know. I grabbed the Raiders at +3 when all this craziness was happening. I couldn't tell you what to do now. Take the Raiders if you want, but you kind of missed the move. Like, I have no idea what to expect.
You can't really handicap this game. The Raiders, as it is hard enough to handicap.
You're guessing.
Now
you're just guessing no matter what you do.
Yeah. I mean, I was kicking myself because this was at 6.5, and I thought that was absolutely absurd that the Browns were favored by that much. But it seemed like there was still steam coming in on the Browns, so I was waiting to see if a 7 popped up. Ended up going down to 3, and I wasn't going to do it. But then more news came out, and I took the +3 with the Raiders as well. But at this point, I think you just got to pass because you missed the best of the number, and like you said, you're just pretty much flipping a coin at this point with everything that's going on. You would like to think the Raiders can take care of business here against the Browns, but I don't know what you're getting with this Raiders team on a weekly basis. So if you didn't get the +3, I would recommend just passing completely on this game. So enjoy your first Saturday football game. Here's what you get: a half of a Browns team and a crappy Raiders team.
Enjoy. Props for you in this game?
Nothing.
Really? I had a couple.
Okay.
All right. Nick Chubb receiving yards. He's normally around like 12.5, 13.5. He's gone over this a couple times. You got to expect the Browns probably to do more running back screens, quick passes with their wide receivers and tight ends and all banged up. They have no linemen to block. I think that could be a way where they try and get Chubb involved if he can't get going on the ground because they have no offensive line. Hunter Renfrow receptions. This was something I mentioned last week and didn't bet it as much as I wanted to. If he's at 6.5 again, I think you just have to take it. 7+ catches in 6 of his last 7 games. Browns are really good at defending tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. Not good against wide receivers, and their slot corner is currently on the COVID list. And then a little off the radar play, Divine Diablo over 6.5 tackles and assists. If you can find this line, this is if Raiders linebacker Denzel Perryman sits. He's number 4 in the NFL in tackles. Got hurt during the Washington game 2 weeks ago, and Diablo has had 10 and 9 tackles plus assists over the last 2 weeks, and we expect the Browns to probably be running the ball with Chubb a lot. So I would look there if you're into defensive props and that sort of thing. Anything left to say?
Nope.
All right, Saturday night football, Patriots and the Colts. Colts are up to 2.5-point home favorites. The over-under is 45. Both teams coming off a bye. Patriots are undefeated on the road this season and have not lost since week 6 to the Cowboys. Road, do we think they can make it 7 in a row, or are you going with Colts?
I was ready to take the Colts here at like a +1 or a pick 'em, and I know it was there at one point, but I was just kind of waiting to see what ended up happening. I'm pretty surprised this line went to 2.5 with as good as the Patriots have been playing. I feel like they've kind of become a public team. So
with no news too, like there was no injuries, no one played last week. It's very weird line movement.
A lot of money coming in on the Colts apparently. If you throw a 3 out there for the Patriots at this point, I'm going to have to take it because it's just I feel like there's too much value on that. I did use the Patriots and teasers. I think that's a great spot. I would think this would remain a pretty close game. The weak part, I say in quotations here, of this Patriots defense is the run game, but they're 6th in DVOA against the rush. They're number 2 in run stop win rate. They're number 1 in defense in weighted DVOA. And now that we're later in the season, weighted DVOA basically weighs the more recent games more than like the first few weeks of the season. So they're number 1 in defense there. I don't think this Belichick narrative of taking away your number 1 weapon, I don't expect Taylor. I'm not going to come on here and say Bill Belichick's going to take away Jonathan Taylor. I still expect him to, have a good game, be able to get going on the ground a little bit, but I still think they're going to be able to, put them in situations where, some 3rd and longs where Wentz is going to have to make some throws. Patriots are number 4 in adjusted sack rate. So, Wentz under pressure can sometimes equal left-handed interception. So I think, I think the Patriots defense can put them in some tough positions additions here. Like I said, I'll wait to see if a 3 does pop up. If not, I'll just stick with the Patriots and teasers because I do expect this to be a back and forth close game.
Is it possible that the Patriots defense is overrated in a similar way to how we felt about the Buffalo Bills a few weeks ago until they've kind of been exposed over the last few weeks? Because it's kind of like a very similar setup. They're both in the AFC East. They played similar schedules. I kind of feel like the Patriots defense might be propped up against a lot of their weaker opponents. Like you look at when they've played the good offenses in the league. Bucks in week 4, they allowed 19 points, but that was in a tornado. I mean, I don't even know how much we can take from that game. They allowed 35 points to the Cowboys, 27 points to the Chargers. And then the only other good offense they played was the Bills 2 weeks ago in a blizzard, and they allowed 10 points. And then the rest of their games are against the Texans and the Jets and the Dolphins and all these crap teams.
I think it's a case you could make. I feel like as good of a coach Bill Belichick is, I just feel like the scheme has such a big thing to do with it on a weekly basis, where it's not just not that the Bills defense isn't good at scheming. I just feel like they come out with a different scheme every week based on their opponent, and they're adjusting to what that team does best. So I just feel like that kind of sets it apart just with how good of a coach Bill Belichick is.
Okay. Fair enough. For me in this game, I played the Colts at +1 last week. I also played the over 43.5 on the opener. I kind of don't hate it at 45. Like I said, I think this Patriots defense might be a little bit underrated. I think both teams are going to try overrated. Yes. Both teams are going to try and force the other one to pass a little bit. We're in a dome. Both teams coming off full rest. I think there could be some points in this game, more than people may be expecting.
I don't know. They're both run first teams. Do you expect a lot of downfield? Like I know
I think both defenses are going to try and take away the run and force the other one to pass.
Yeah, but do you trust both passing games?
I do. I think they can do enough. I mean, they're gonna be going into favorable passing matchups. Like if the Patriots stack the box, Carson Wentz isn't the greatest quarterback, but if he has one-on-ones on the outside, like he's hit some shots this year down the field.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like the Colts this year have benefited so much from pass interference calls down the field. I don't have numbers in front of me to back it up, but there are some of these games that they have had numerous like 40+ yard penalties go their way, which I think has contributed to some of their high scoring efforts.
Helps the over.
Yeah.
Any props for you in this one? We do have lines for this game. I didn't see anything that stood out to me.
Nah, nothing stuck out to me.
All right. Moving along. Sunday. Let's go footballs and Eagles. NFC East here. Eagles are up to 7-point home favorites. This opened at 3.5 or 4. The over-under is 44. Footballs lost a wild one last week to the Cowboys. The Eagles coming off their bye. We were expecting Jalen Hurts to be back, and then all of a sudden today we get news. It's not just a regular ankle injury. It's a high ankle sprain, which could take 2 to 4 weeks to heal. So who the heck knows if it's going to be Hurts or Minshew at this point? And then on the footballs.
And this line's at 7 still. You said open at 4, but it's at 7 now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you didn't say that.
I did.
No, you didn't.
All right, rewind the tape, everyone. You can hear me say that the Eagles are 7-point favorites, but it opened at 3.5 or 4. On the football side of the ball, I believe they're up to 17 players on the COVID list. There's not a ton of like big names, but it's just they're losing depth at this point. Taylor Heineke, it sounds like he's going to be ready to go, but we know he's banged up. Terry McLaurin's really questionable. J.D. McKissick, we don't know if he's going to play. Antonio Gibson was benched for fumbling for the second time this season last week. I think this is a good spot to take the Eagles. I love them at 4. I bet their money line earlier in the week. They're 3-1 against the spread as favorites this season. I think this is a good spot for them against a weaker offense. The problem is now that the line is at 7, I don't know if I would play it now. If I didn't have a position on the game now, I'm teasing the Eagles down to 1, and I'm pairing them with an option that we'll say later, the Patriots, someone like that. What do you have here?
Yeah, so I grabbed the Eagles money line. I think I parlayed them with someone else when they were minus 200. I think it's close.
I have them in the Niners and a parlay.
Okay. I think one of the bigger losses for this football's team is Jonathan Allen on that defensive line, because at this point they're just scraping the bottom of the barrel for their defensive line. They were already
Montez
down.
Sweat, Chase Young,
exactly.
Yeah.
So they're just and that losing Jonathan Allen in the middle there against this Eagles team with a dominant defensive line that wants to run the ball. That's huge. And if Minshew's in, if Minshew's in, they're just going to be handing it right up the middle again, like they did against the Jets. One of the big parts on the Eagles for the defensive side is the Cowboys last week. The reason they won that game is because their defensive line was getting so much pressure. Eagles only blitzed 16% of the time, which was the second fewest in the league, and they're 24th in QB pressure. So if Heineke's in there, we've seen him look great over the past few weeks when he's not under pressure. And then as soon as they got pressure on him last week, he was a bottom 5 quarterback in the league. So I think that's going to be a key for this Eagles team. But I'm with you at 7 now. I think the best option if you want to buy into the Eagles would be to tease them down.
Okay. Prop looks for you in this game.
I'm probably going to be going the Eagles running backs. If Sanders is in there, is Howard coming back this week?
I think we got to wait till later in the week. Yeah. Whatever combination of Eagles running backs are in there and you can find props on, I'm going to have some sort of overs. We just don't exactly know who it is yet.
Yeah. So no names yet, but Eagles running backs. We'll see what
any Eagles running back you can find.
Yeah. So other than that, no props for me.
All right. Let's move on to our second NFC East divisional battle. Cowboys at the Giants. Giants are up to 11-point home underdogs. This line just keeps going up. Over under is 44 for the Cowboys. Left tackle Tyron Smith is going to be out, and Tony Pollard is going to be questionable. For the Giants, it sounds like it's going to be Mike Glennon again. Who the heck knows what wide receivers are going to be there? Kadarius Toney's on the COVID list. Sterling Shepard, Kenny Galladay, Darius Slayton. Who knows?
Just assume 2 of their 5 receivers are going to play every week. It's just a complete carousel of wide receivers on the Giants at this point.
The Cowboys, I really don't like what I'm seeing out of their offense right now. For the amount of weapons and skill position players that they have, it's just not good enough. They're out here throwing screen passes on 3rd and 11 against a bad Washington football secondary with Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup sitting out there. This is the second week in a row the Cowboys have scored 27 points, but they got at least 1 touchdown from their defense. And the week before that, they got a kick return from Tony Pollard. It seems like this defense and their fluky special teams and defensive touchdowns are kind of propping up what's really been a mediocre league average offense for the past few weeks. And Dak hasn't been great.
Yeah, I'm with you. Dak hasn't been great. And like you said, it was driving me nuts last week. You're playing one of the worst secondaries in the league, and they continue to bail them out, throwing screen passes.
I bet on the footballs, and it was bothering me.
Yeah, so it was crazy. Like the Chiefs, we expect them to come out with this explosive offense, but the Cowboys are getting it done with their defense. It's just not what anyone expected. Little question for you here. When do you think the last time the Cowboys were double-digit favorites against the Giants?
Oof. Was it the Tony Romo era? Or do we have to go back to Troy Aikman?
Yeah, Tony Romo era, I think. Yeah.
09, 08?
2003.
Oh, geez. That may have been before Romo.
Yeah, maybe. Cowboys were 12-point favorites and won 19-3. So that's the last time they were double-digit favorites. With a healthy DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, Micah Parsons, his defense and defensive line is pretty scary. And if Mike Glennon's back there, it could be a pretty long day for him. At first glance, it looks like too many points, but I've been wrong on this Giants team the last 2 weeks. So this game's a stay away for me.
Could not agree more. My first reaction when I saw the line was, Giants at double digits, home dog, NFC East battle. Love this. The more I looked into it, I think this Cowboys D-line is going to obliterate the Giants' 30th ranked offensive line. I played the Giants team total. I did under 16.5 at plus 100 and then under 18.5 at minus 150. So kind of create a minus 125 bet. Worst case one, I think. Yeah, if they land 17, one wins, one loses. So that was my only play to get a little piece of this game.
All right.
And then for props, if they post Zeke rush yards anywhere in the 60s again, automatic under. Easiest under of the week last week.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not healthy at this point, I don't know.
Literally give carries to anybody. Corey Clement
he's limping. He's limping around out there. I mean,
why is he playing? What are they doing?
Especially in a matchup like this where they should be able to take care of it. With
he's not helping them if he's limping around. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you got to get him healthy for the playoffs. It's getting to the point where it's just ridiculous. You almost feel, us as Eagles fans hate Ezekiel, but it's to the point where you just feel bad for him watching him limp around out there, clearly not healthy. And he's even said, I'm not taking myself out. They have to do it.
Yeah, they'll have to take me out, but apparently they're not going to. Yeah. So who knows? All right, let's go to the Carolina Panthers against the Buffalo Bills. Bills are 11-point home favorites. Over under is 44.5. Josh Allen dealing with some turf toe foot style injuries. It sounds like he pushing towards playing. No official word yet. If not, it will be Mitch Trubisky. Manny Sanders is also going to be out for the Bills, and DJ Moore is questionable for the Panthers. Sam Darnold was designated to return from IR, but I am assuming it's still going to be Cam Newton or PJ Walker alternating drives, whatever the heck they're doing. I could not possibly imagine having a play on this game at the current numbers with these two current teams. Like I no, but
it's almost flying. Here? It's almost flying under the radar with the stuff that's going on with Jacksonville and the Jets and stuff, and it's flying under the radar how much of a disaster this Panthers team is right now. Yeah. You pay this money for Sam Darnold to come here; was an absolute wreck, and then you bring back Cam Newton; he's been absolutely atrocious. So. Yeah,
and you make all these moves during the season. They're in like win now mode. They're giving up assets to get like Stephon Gilmore and Dan Arnold, or they're trading Dan Arnold to get a cornerback. They're a mess.
Yeah, I've tried to get behind this Panthers team, and I just you can't do it with the quarterback situation. And we've seen the Bills defense dominate these bad offenses, but with Josh Allen, he was in a walking boot. It's tough to back the Bills team at double digits here. So this game is another pass for me.
I will say, if Josh Allen does end up missing the game and Mitch Trubisky starts, I'm going to be all over the Bills here. Like, if this spread dropped to like 7.5 with Trubisky starting, I would be all over the Bills.
Yeah, I think if it dropped, I think I would need a 6.5 in order to buy into.
I would love that. I don't know if it's going to go that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can make a case for 4 points, but
tease him down. If it gets to 7.5 with Trubisky, that's an awesome teaser option. I think he would do great in the spot.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm going to guess the books aren't going to throw it over 200 for Cam Newton passing yards again. So
there's no chance.
There's no way. So I don't know if we're going to have it under there. And if Josh Allen does play, maybe I look a rush attempts or rush yards under if you want to go one of those routes. If they don't, I think his rush attempts have been around 6.5, 7.5. So I can't imagine he would be looking to run the ball with a turf toe or whatever.
I don't even know if I want to do it again. Like after betting Aaron Rodgers and Baker Mayfield unders that 1 week where they were supposed to be like not able to move and then they both ran.
Yeah, but that was like a low total with, I think rush attempts would be a safer bet,
I guess.
honestly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So yeah, that would be my only prop lean in this one.
I would look at if you can find like a Cam Newton, maybe even like, I don't even know what they're going to post his props at, but if they post like normal props for him, maybe you do like an alt under, just do like,
I don't think you can do alt unders.
I think you can on DraftKings. I don't think.
They're SGP. You can.
If you did like under 150 passing yards and under 30 rushing yards, like just in case he gets benched, like I don't know, you could look at that. And then I might go back to a Chuba Hubbard under. I had him last week in the I think it was actually mid 70s for rush plus receiving.
Oh, rush plus receiving. Okay.
Plus receiving yards. We said that we expected a lot of Amir Abdullah. Chuba only played 39% of the snaps, finished with 10 carries for 33 yards, went way, way under this total. And we know the Bills are a tough matchup. Panthers are probably going to be forced to throw the ball, and Abdullah is the pass catching back instead of Chuba. So if you can get decent numbers, maybe his rushing total in the 40s, I played the under on Chuba.
All
right. It's that time. Debate of the week time. Tennessee Titans against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are 1.5 point home underdogs. Over under is 41.5. AJ Brown's still going to be out for the Titans. Bud Dupree was activated off IR and may play. No word yet. And TJ Watt sounds like he's going to give it a go, but no, I don't know if he's officially been ruled in. Surprise to no one. Rue is going to be on the Steelers here. I'm going to be on the Titans. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. That's fine. Look, if you just bet the Steelers as underdogs all season, you're going to come out with profit. 5-3 right now. They're 0-5 as favorites. So stay away as favorites. So we got to. There is a 2 out there. I took them at 2. Look, Titans last 5 games. I can't stress enough how bad this offense is. 3.8 yards per play, 5.7, 5.3, 4.6, 3.5. Well below league average. 22nd in DVOA despite a 9-4 record and some pretty decent wins in there. I understand the struggles the Steelers have had on offense and defense, but they've shown the ability to hang around in these games and battle back. And the Titans, they let the Jags hang around this week. They don't have the weapons to just put teams away. I'm going to say exactly what I said last week. What on this Titans offense scares you? There's just nothing there. There's no weapons. There's just not one.
I'm going to tell you. What scares you.
Please tell me, because I don't see the Titans being able to run all over the Steelers like the Vikings did. They might have some success running the ball.
Why not?
Or did I say this? I meant the Vikings. Did I say the Vikings? Yeah.
No, I know what you mean, but why do you not see that happening? Did you watch the Vikings game?
Yeah,
you could have ran for 100 yards in that game. The running lanes were that big. I actually think,
and I think after watching that film last week, I expect them to make some kind of adjustments.
They're not a good run defense.
I'm gonna say, pretty wild take here. I think Deontay Foreman and Hilliard are a pretty big drop off from Dalvin Cook. I know if
but
the whole
the lanes were
I understand
so big,
that.
it didn't
I
even
understand
matter.
that. I'm just saying, Steelers. Listen to this. It wouldn't be a debate if I don't give you some Mike Tomlin trends here.
How many weeks in a row do we have to do this?
Listen to this. Everyone just listen to this. The Steelers have won 5 straight games outright as home underdogs. 13-3-2 against the spread as home underdogs. Tell me you don't want to buy into the Steelers team. This is where you want the Steelers.
This is a pick'em.
No, let me tell you what.
This is like you want the
You're
Steelers as a big underdog,
You're
not
getting 2
1
points.
or 2 points.
You're getting 2 points with the Steelers. And this is what you want. Everyone saw that game last Thursday. Everyone saw it. Steelers getting exposed on defense. But what? They were still battled back in a 1-possession game. And the Titans.
Because it's the Vikings. Anyone could have battled back.
Right,
the grade school up the street from you could make a 3-point game against the Vikings.
Everyone 5 straight games is outright dogs. That's all I'm saying.
This is the time to buy on the Titans. There was a sell high spot on the Titans a few weeks ago. We sold it. We shorted them. Now is the time to buy low in the Titans. Everyone has gone way too far. I have this game as Titans -3.5.
What?
Only -1.5.
In Pittsburgh, you're making the Titans 3.5 point
I think they are a significantly better team than the Steelers.
That is irresponsible to this podcast.
No, it's not.
Are you kidding me?
The Titans are such a better team than the Steelers. Now is the time in the season to fade Big Ben. We saw it last year. His body cannot hold up to this type of beating. There's going to be a regression coming for an already awful quarterback. Now is the time to fade Big Ben and buy low on the Steelers. It's going to be 35 degrees, 8-mile-an-hour winds. You're going to want the run game set up, and the Titans matchup in the run game is absolutely perfect. Their offensive line grades out very similarly to the Vikings, and we all saw what they did on Thursday Night Football. I think Deontay Foreman, who went 19 for 109 against the Patriots 2 weeks ago, he's going to be in for the big day. Titans O-line manhandles the Steelers, and they get a 6-point victory.
I mean, I'm just looking at Tannehill and Big Ben stats, and Tannehill's thrown 13 picks. Ben's only thrown 7. Big Ben's yards per attempt are way above Tannehill over the last few games. It's at least Ben has targets to throw to. That's what I'm saying. There's just.
Yeah, he does. He has much better receivers.
I understand the struggles the Steelers have had, but it's not like they've been getting blown out every week. And for you to say you'd make the Titans 3.5 point favorites right now in Pittsburgh, to me, is one of the most absurd things that's ever been said on this podcast. And I kind of want to log off right now.
All right. See ya.
All right.
Do you have any props you're going to be looking for in this one?
I am going to be going back to Deontay receptions. Came up a little short.
Oh, that one hurt last week.
It hurt, but the targets were still there. He still had 10 targets. I'm expecting another 6.5 around -115. He's still, he's hit 7 in 8 of 13 games this year. So I think the numbers are still there to take it again.
All right. I'm going to be looking at Deontay Foreman rush yards if we get a number in the high 50s again. Ready to move on?
Yes.
All right, New York Jets against the Miami Dolphins. This spread has gone nothing but up this week. The Dolphins are up to 10-point home favorites. Over under is 42.5. Dolphins coming off the bye with their playoff hopes still alive at 6-7. Jets were not very competitive against the Saints last week. Zach Wilson looks horrendous. It looks like they really missed Elijah Moore on offense in the passing game. The Jets may get Michael Carter back this week. I think him and Tevin Coleman are both questionable. And then the Dolphins basically have every running back on their roster currently in the COVID protocols. I'm not sure if Gaskin or Ahmed will be able to clear it by Sunday. But either way, I think the Dolphins passing attack can have some success here. I'm definitely going to be looking at Jalen Waddle over receptions. I think especially if they don't have a running back, you're going to see a lot of this to short, quick passes that we've seen the Dolphins offense use in the past. The Jets have the worst pass defense in the league. I wouldn't lay 10 with the Dolphins. I was all over them in teasers when this was at 8.5 at 10 right now. It's probably a stay away. I don't really want to lay double digits with the Dolphins, even though I think they're incredibly likely to win and probably win by at least a touchdown. What do you have?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get them in a teaser before it moved. I'm not opposed to taking a Jets team total under 16. It's just this is a terrible matchup for the Jets because I talked about it last week how Wilson struggled holding the ball too long and against this aggressive defense, Dolphins blitz at the second highest rate in the league and they're top 10 in pressuring the quarterback. To me, that's the difference here. I think this is going to be a long day for Zach Wilson. He's going to be taking some hits in the backfield here. And like you said, Jets are, dead last in weighted DVOA in the league too. Should have no problem carving up this defense. Probably a pass for me at the current number, but I'm going to be honest. If this dipped back under 10, I wouldn't be opposed to backing the Dolphins here because I don't see the Jets having any success on either side of the ball here.
I like that play on the team total under a lot. I've had a ton of, for whatever reason, I am god awful at betting totals, but I've been incredible at betting team totals this season. I don't know what it is about how I can predict one team's total, but not the other. But I really like that Jets team total under 16. That's a good call.
Thank you.
Props for you. Do you like the Jalen Waddle over receptions? Do you have anything else you'd be looking at?
Yeah, I like that. And I don't know if Malcolm Brown was one of the ones in COVID protocol, but if he's the only one there,
he might be the only one not in COVID
I can't
protocol.
imagine just given that it's Malcolm Brown, I can't imagine it's going to be that high of a line. So if we are to get something in the 50s with Malcolm Brown, he's the only guy
you might
there.
even get the 40s. Like we had that one week where Rex Burkhead was alone and he was 39 and a half. I mean, it's a little bit better of an offense, but kind of similar player.
So, yeah, we've seen teams just lining up, running it straight at this Jets defense. So I would probably take Malcolm Brown anything in the mid 50s or lower for an over.
Okay. Assuming all the other running backs.
Yes, obviously.
We'll monitor that.
Yeah. If Gaskin plays, I would do, the same thing with him. I would look his rush yards. Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the Houston Texans, almost at the Tennessee Texans. Houston Texans against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are 4-point favorites. Not something you think you'd ever have to say out loud. In the year 2021, the over-under is a rock bottom 39.5. Urban Meyer v. David Culley 2.0 rematch from week 1 with the Texans won. Texans hung around a little bit last week against the Seahawks. They were competitive in the first half. Davis Mills actually didn't look terrible. Meanwhile, the Jaguars scored 0 points. Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions, and James Robinson, their best player, got 6 carries for 4 yards. I think this is the easiest bet of the week. It almost scares me. I feel like every sharp better I've heard, quote unquote sharp better, is on the Jaguars here. I don't get it at all. I'm not buying it. Texans +4, Texans +155 money line were the 2 easiest bets I made all week, and they're in contention for lock of the week. This is just, you almost can't even evaluate the teams on the field. The Jaguars have a more talented roster, but this team, they don't care. They hate the coach. No one's playing hard. You saw it last week against the Titans. At least the Texans look like they have some fight. Davis Mills is playing for his job. It seems like they care, and the Jaguars would rather be anywhere else on earth.
Yeah, if you're laying 4 points with the Jaguars, can you just DM us on Twitter and I just want to hear your reasoning. I'm not going to criticize you. I'm just curious what what's inclining anyone to lay 4 points with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The reasoning I've heard is because the way that the Jaguars have been rated in the market has been much higher. So these teams have a lot of common opponents, and you'll see the Davis Mills Texans as 12-point underdogs to the Titans, and the Jaguars are only 7-point or 8-point underdogs.
But at some point, you need to weigh the other factors that aren't factored into who they've played and all that. And that's this.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, there's veterans on the Texans that have been somewhat vocal about them, basically sounding like they're quitting as well. But like you said, Davis Mills is playing for a job right now, whereas pretty much everyone on the Jaguars seems to hate Urban Meyer. So if there's quit potential here, it's in the Texans' favor, because I think everyone on the Jaguars just can't wait to get this season over with. Urban Meyer saying guys are playing more who are playing 0 snaps, and he's giving Mike Vrabel a dead fish handshake at the end of games. So everything about this organization team's a disaster. And Trevor Lawrence has just been, you can blame Urban Meyer all you want. I'm not going to stop you, but Lawrence has to take some responsibility. He's been absolutely atrocious. I said it at the top. He's 1 touchdown in the last 6 games. That's pretty much unheard of in today's NFL. And he's 4 interceptions last week. It doesn't matter if the Jaguars have more talent. You have to take the points with the Texans here. I don't care what anyone's saying. If I'll lose this bet, no, I still took the right side.
I'm with you. We ride on the Texans.
Yes.
I don't even think I want to ask you about props here, but
no.
do you? Okay.
No.
I don't even think you could possibly have a prop here. All right, let's just move on. Arizona Cardinals, Detroit Lions. Lions are 13-point home underdogs. Over under is at 47. lot of injury question marks on the Lions side. No, I've heard that DeAndre Swift, TJ Hawkinson, Jamal Williams, all questionable. So we'll have to see what happens there. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be done for the season, actually. Breaking injury today. Chase Edmonds is going to be questionable. And I've also heard some weird James Conner rumors that he may or may not have been injured at the end of last game. So we'll see what happens there. I actually really love the Lions here. I put like a decent amount on them. I'm trying to wait and see if I can get some news on their skill position players. Can they get Swift or Jamal Williams back? Can TJ Hawkinson help the passing game a little bit? But I just like the Lions here. I think them as a big dog is a really good spot. We talked about quit potential with the Texans and the Jaguars. You know, for as bad as this Lions team is, for as unimpressive as a coach as Dan Campbell is, the one thing you can say about this team, they play hard. They really like Campbell in terms of like playing hard for him, trying. They're going to play out the season. They lost 38-10 last week, but I think that was just, they were so decimated. There was so few guys there. But we have a couple data points, plus 13.5 against the Browns. They lose by 3, plus 16.5 against the Rams. They lose by 9, plus 10 against the Vikings. They lose by 2. So we've seen them in this spot a couple times now as double-digit underdogs. I think this is where you want to take the Lions. You have them at home. So I grabbed them at 13.5. I also like them at 8.5 in the first half. And yeah, let's go Lions.
Yeah, I think I would need to have some of these skill guys back before I back the Lions, but I agree. I think they are the play. Like you said, they don't have this quit potential of these other, 1-win teams and 2-win teams, whatever. I do worry about their secondary, how they hold up against this passing attack. I know DeAndre Hopkins isn't there, but we've seen Kyler get it done with what's there. But I'm with you. If Hawkinson and Swift are ruled in and I can still get like a 12.5, 13.5, I'll probably be on the Lions with you.
All right, let's do it. Any prop looks for you in this game?
Yeah, I will be looking at AJ Green. This is one of the worst secondaries in the league. He had 10 targets last week. And outside of a couple, I think it was only 2 games, he's pretty much consistently seeing 6+ targets. Now no DeAndre Hopkins. He's their downfield guy, and they do connect a decent amount on these. He had a good connection with McCoy, and he showed it last week. He's got a pretty good connection with Kyler. So I'll be looking at AJ Green yards and also to score a touchdown.
Yeah, I like that idea. I may look at Amon-Ra St. Brown on the Lions. He's been pretty good the last few weeks, but we'll see with the numbers.
I think Hawkinson and Swift coming back might factor into that because he was coming. I know against the Vikings, he was coming out of the backfield a little bit. So,
all right, fair enough. Let's move on. Cincinnati Bengals against the Denver Broncos. Broncos are, let's see if this is still okay. So it's 2.5 at most places. There were some 3s earlier today. The over-under is 44.5. This is a huge game for the AFC wildcard race. Essentially, it's loser go home. These teams are both 7-6. So if they drop a game, they're going to also lose the tiebreaker to the other team. So both these teams need a win in the worst way. The look ahead, I just want to talk about the line for a second on this game. The look ahead line in this game was Bengals -2.5. Some spots even had -3. So last week, the Bengals obviously lose a game in overtime to the San Francisco 49ers. It was a very close game, a game in which they muffed 2 punts and essentially handed the Niners 6 points. The Broncos beat basically the Detroit Lions' third stringers, 38-10. Nice performance, but we're going to flip essentially a 6 or a 5.5 point line move just based off of 1 week. Like it makes absolutely no sense. I love the Bengals here. I grabbed them at 2.5. I doubled down when it got to 3. This is one of my favorite teaser legs of the week. I think this is an absolute coin flip game. Give me the Bengals money line at +120 or better. Like I don't understand the spread at all. I made it Bengals -1. So if you're giving me the most key number in football at 3, I will take that all day, and I don't mind it at 2.5 either.
So I went into this week before the lines open. I was expecting to be backing the Broncos at a +3 here. And, it opened at the like 1.5, and then it was 2.5. And I just don't think you can make a case that either of these teams is that much better than another. I know the Broncos are home, but 2.5 points here with the Bengals. I do like this Broncos team. But I think one of the things here is they're getting it done on the ground, and Cincinnati defense, as much as I've kind of been on them saying they've overperformed this year, they haven't allowed a team to rush for 100 yards in the last 4 games. So that's a positive sign here with something their defense has been doing. If you can force Bridgewater to throw the ball, I think that could be a key here. I talked about last week how Cincinnati played the easiest schedule in terms of DVOA this season. Broncos have played the third easiest, so not that far off there. A lot of the Broncos numbers were piled up on that first few stretches of games where they played some of the worst teams in the league. It's definitely concerning. I mean, I got to bring it up. This Bengals offensive line, Burrow sacked 5 more times last week, but we did see his connection with Jamar Chase come back a little bit last week, which was a positive sign there. And Burrow's hand, which was a concern going to last week, obviously seemed fine. He threw for over 300 yards. And look, Cincinnati lost back-to-back games, but they could have easily won last week. A couple fumbles and went into overtime. So, yeah, we're looking at a completely different spread here, I think, if they win this game. So it's just, like you said, this to me is a coin flip game. And I'm getting 2.5 on the side here. If you can grab 3, that's awesome. And I love the Bengals and teasers here too.
All right, we're on the same page. Props here. I do not have any real strong plays. The only thing I wanted to note was that Joe Mixon only played 60% of the snaps last week, which I thought was rather egregious. For some reason, they didn't want to use him in passing downs. I don't really know what that was about. Just a note, if you're betting on Mixon props this week, his usage was way down last week.
I think that's one of the things with the Bengals is they overcommit to the run. It seems like they just try to keep pounding away with Mixon. Their offensive line isn't that great. I know there's games where he's had success, and I think coming off, they had that big game running the ball against the Steelers, but
team running the ball against the Steelers, that never happens.
But I think, they seem to be getting themselves behind the sticks a little bit. So I think you got to start throwing the ball, on first and second down to get more manageable third downs. I think that would just be a key here for me.
All right, let's move on. Atlanta Falcons and the San Francisco 49ers. Niners are 9.5-point home favorites. The over-under is 46. Niners keep on rolling, piling up wins, beating the Bengals last week. The Falcons beat the lowly Panthers. I really like the Niners in this game. I think the spread is getting a little bit out of hand. This was another one where it was one of my favorite teaser legs of the week, but now that it's at 9.5, it's kind of out of range. But for me, it's just kind of like the team profile of the Falcons. What do we know about them this year? You bet on them when they're playing weaker teams. You bet against them when they're playing good teams. The Falcons are 0-4 this season as 7+ point underdogs. They have not won a game all year against a team over 500. I expect the Niners to dominate the line of scrimmage. Elijah Mitchell is trending in the right direction towards playing. I think the Niners get a lead. They use Kittle. They use Debo. They establish Elijah Mitchell on the ground, and the Falcons can't do anything to stop them. And I think the Niners defense is physical enough and strong enough to hold the Falcons in check. So I really like the Niners here. I don't mind laying it at 9.5. I liked it a lot in teasers. I played them at -8. But for me, it's all Niners here.
I'd probably play the Falcons if it got over 10. If you can get the Niners in a teaser, that's fine. But I think the Niners, Kyle Shanahan's terrible as a favorite. They're 5-6 against the spread this year as a favorite. I get what you're saying, but I feel like this Falcons team, they have what it takes to hang around with this team. As long as Cordero Patterson's in there healthy, I think they can.
No, they don't.
You don't think they can hang around with this team? They've hung around.
Not against a good defense. They don't score against good defenses.
You don't think they can? I think they can do enough against this secondary to stay in the game. I know they don't like with Pitts, with Gage on the outside, who's been pretty decent, and with Patterson. I think that's enough for them to at least hang around. And we've seen the Niners come out flat a few times this year. It seems the Niners play up and down to their competition. They're one of those teams.
That's fair.
So I think this is a game where, coming off that overtime win against the Bengals, I could absolutely see the Niners coming out here flat. So I think. If it does get 10, I'll probably buy into the Falcons. If not, as long as it stays in this dead zone, I'm probably not going to have a play on it. But if it goes back to 8.5, I'll tease the Niners.
Okay, fair enough. Any prop looks for you in this one?
Nothing right now. No.
Might look at Elijah Mitchell over rush yards if we get a number in the 70s. Falcons run D is not anything special. Expect the Niners to lean on him heavily. They seem to give him as much workload as he can possibly handle. So if he's good to go, I expect a full complement of carries.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the 4:25 Eastern slate. Packers and the Ravens.
Should we make a separate podcast to go over the Ravens injury report, or should we?
We could add that to can we add the Browns and the Ravens injury report podcast? The Ravens are +5. The over under is 43.5. Ravens getting close to entering absolute free fall mode, losers of 2 in a row. And like you said, just about every good player on the roster is either on IR, on the injury report, on the COVID list, whatever it is. Like Lamar Jackson's questionable with an ankle injury. Calais Campbell, Marlon Humphrey. I mean, I don't even know who's going to be out there for this week.
And if there's any good players left, just expect that they're going to get hurt during this game at some point.
Honestly, at this point, like I don't even know what to expect. And for the Packers, it's actually the opposite. Obviously, we have the Aaron Rodgers toe injury. He keeps saying it's, the worst injury that's ever happened. It's amazing he's still alive, yet he goes out there and looks fine every single week. So like, I'm not really worried about his stupid toe. But they're expected to get Jair Alexander, their star cornerback, and their offensive lineman, David Bakhtiari. They're expected to be back either this week or next. So they may have reinforcements coming. Meanwhile, the Ravens are losing guys left and right. I think this is the week where the Marlon Humphrey injury rears its ugly head. You're going to see Devontae Adams matched up against third string cornerback Damon Arnett for some of this game, with Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, and Jimmy Smith all being out in the Ravens secondary. So I think Adams is just going to tear him up. Rodgers is on another level. We actually grabbed the Packers at -2 last week. I thought that spread was absolutely laughable, and it looks even more laughable now. And then maybe you could look at a Packers team total if you can get them over 24, over 2.5 team touchdowns, something like that. I don't think the Ravens are going to be able to stop them.
Yeah, I actually did. I took the Packers over 23.5.
Okay.
Yeah, with you said it, without their top 3 cornerbacks now, I don't know what this defense is going to do if even if Lamar plays, Lamar on a bad ankle, you're not buying into the Ravens because you think Lamar Jackson is a great passer. So if he's out there hobbled, you're in trouble. It's I know we got him at a great number, but I'm thinking about taking him again at 4.5 here because
I don't hate it.
It's too low with Lamar in there or with Lamar out. I don't see how the Ravens defense gets stops here.
I feel like you have to wait. Like if Lamar gets ruled in, this might go down to 3.5.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is what is this line? Is it just kind of a median where if Lamar's in, it's going to move down a point or so? If he's out, it's going to move up to 5.5, 6. I don't know. It's a strange spot. So maybe you throw a little bit on it now and then wait for news and adjust to that. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on what to do with it now. I am happy we got it last week, but I don't see the Packers having any issues here. And I'm worried about the Ravens missing the playoffs at this point with all these injuries.
Yeah, they are not looking good. They may honestly be better off just punting this game and getting Lamar as healthy as they can for next week. So
yeah.
We'll see what they do. Props for me. Definitely going to be looking at Devontae Adams over receiving yards. Just talked about his matchup on the outside. Like there's just absolutely no one that could stop him. And then might go back to AJ Dillon overs. I had his over rush yards last week against the Bears. He operated as the running back 1. Aaron Jones is a great player, but like they just love Dillon right now. He's a absolute truck back there, tough to tackle in these cold weather games, especially where the Packers have a lead. Like it looks like they're just going to turn around, hand it off to Dillon to bleed the clock out. So I think you could definitely see another 12 to 15 carries if he's lined in the low 50s. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, Adams was my one look. Anything under 100. He's gone over 103 straight. Now you have scout team guys out there for the Ravens. So Adams, anything under 100 yards. I don't even mind doing like an alt 150 if you get plus 200 or something with that, because I just think he could have a monster game.
Yeah. Yeah, the only concern is if they get up and they don't need him anymore. But,
yeah.
I mean, they're not afraid to throw the ball at Devontae Adams, even if they're up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So,
yeah.
All right, let's go to the NFC West. Seattle Seahawks against the LA Rams. Rams are down to 4.5-point home favorites. Over under is 45. Odell Beckham Jr. and Tyler Higbee going to be out with COVID. Do we know about Jalen Ramsey? Do we know if he's playing? Is he out?
I haven't heard any updates. I would assume he's back. Yeah, he's tested. Well, it was Monday, so I can't even keep track of these COVID protocols, honestly.
Check on Jalen Ramsey if you want to bet this game. No play on this one for me. I was actually thinking about Seattle when this was at +7. I think after the Rams beat the Cardinals on Monday Night Football, and then the Beckham news, the spread actually came down a little bit. So I was thinking about the Seahawks. Now that it's down to 4.5, I have no play here. If it keeps dropping, I would consider the Rams if this got to 4. I think it should probably be like 6, but no real play for me right now. I don't want to have to bet the Seahawks here, so I'm very glad the spread moved down.
Yeah, this is one of those, sports betting's so weird. It's you hate these teams I've been talking terrible about the Seahawks for however many weeks. All I want to do is fade them. But then I see a +7 out there, and it's just, how do you not take this number? Look, it's a scary team to back just because of how much they rely on big plays. But I think I saw enough from Russ last week, albeit against the Texans team, but enough to where I'm not that concerned about the thumb injury anymore. And I think they have the ability to hit these big plays and get the ball down the field. So at a +7 in these NFC West divisional games, and it was way too many points. And obviously that was, I was smart to buy into it now that it's down at 4.5. So, probably wouldn't touch it at this line now. It's probably right around where I would make it. And I wanted that key number of 7s and I got it. But right now it's just a complete pass for me.
Okay. Fair enough. Prop looks for you in this one.
Yeah, the one I have is Rashad Penny under. The Rams have really stepped up their run defense since the bye week, and we might get somewhat of an inflated line on Penny after last week's performance against the Texans.
I like that. Very contrarian. I wrote down Tyler Lockett over receiving yards if it's in the 60s. Since Russ returned, Lockett has been the only Seahawks wide receiver producing consistently. He has 96, 68, and 142 yards in his last 3 weeks. And I'm expecting Seattle to go behind and be forced to throw the ball a little bit more than they want to. And then Cooper Kupp receiving yards, receptions, whatever you want to do. Like, he's just unstoppable at this point. No Odell Beckham Jr., no Tyler Higbee. He's already gotten 10 plus targets in 12 of 13 games this season. He could get even more this week. Like, target volume's insane. And the Seahawks defense is pretty good against the run, pretty bad against the pass. We saw Davis Mills have some success through the air last week. So I think Stafford and Kupp especially are going to do whatever the heck they want. There's no one that can guard this guy right now.
Nope.
All right. Sunday Night Football. NFC South. New Orleans Saints against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucs are 11-point home favorites. The over-under is at 46.5. Pretty clean injury report for the most part right now. Obviously, Antonio Brown's still going to be out for the Bucs. Mark Ingram, I don't know of his status. I guess he's questionable for the Saints, but Kamara's back. That's the big one. I actually really, really like the Saints here. I grabbed them at +11.5. I took the team total over 16.5. I took the game total over 46.5. Since Tom Brady arrived in Tampa, they have played the New Orleans Saints 4 times. The Saints are 3-1 in those games with a +45 point differential. Obviously, the only loss coming in the NFC playoffs last year. And I know Taysom Hill has not been great throwing the ball. I think the X factor here is Taysom Hill's rushing ability. We know the Bucs have an excellent run defense, but I think that can be mitigated a little bit by Taysom Hill's ability and the RPO stuff. Josh Allen went 12 for 109 on the ground last week. The Bills covered that game. Actually, the Bills did not cover that game, but they made it close. The last time the Saints played the Bucs, Jameis Winston, who is not even a running quarterback, went 4 for 40 on the ground in one half of football. Justin Fields had 38 rush yards. Jalen Hurts had 44 rush yards. The Eagles did cover that game. So I think the Saints can keep this close. I think whatever it is about this defense, they kind of have the Bucs number. Lattimore matches up excellent on Evans. And they've given Brady some problems in the past. I could see this being a Bucs 4-point win, 6-point win. So I think double digits is too many points here.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Bucs beat them in the playoffs, because all I've heard so far this week is how Tom Brady hasn't beaten the Saints since he's come to the Bucs, and I always say, stop it.
Mention
stop
that.
It. He beat them in the playoffs. Stop it. He's
the most important game.
He's not 0-3 against the Saints. He beat them in the playoffs. So thank you. And I agree with you. The Saints are the side here, but it just scares me. This Bucs offense is rolling right now, and if the Saints fall behind, they're going to be they're going to have major issues with the way Taysom Hill's throwing the ball. So you can write it off as, I know he's been struggling throwing the ball, but he can run. They're not going to. I don't think you're going to beat this Bucs team by. And I know it's a 10.5 point spread, but I just don't think you can hang with this Bucs team strictly running the ball. You got to have something through the air. And with Taysom Hill at quarterback and the lack of weapons on the outside for this team. I don't know. It scares me. I know they've had Brady's number. That's why I'm not backing the Bucs. But just no play for me here.
All right.
There's a lean to the under. Taysom Hill starts are
over. Give me the over.
Taysom Hill. So the over under is 46.5. Taysom Hill starts are 5-1 to the under, and every game has gone under 46 points. So lean to the under. Have not played it yet.
How many of those games were against the best offense in the league on the other side?
I will have to rerun the numbers on that one.
None is the answer. Props for you in this one.
Maybe look at a Chris Godwin if Lattimore is on Mike Evans. I actually don't have his numbers in front of me, what he did against the Saints last time, but he definitely seems to be the number one target for Brady right now. So if you get a 6.5 receptions, I would probably take that.
Definitely agree on Godwin. I think his target volume is going to be insane. I may actually look to Mike Evans unders. If we get under 4.5 receptions, if you get his yards in the low 60s, the last 2 years, Mike Evans against Marshawn Lattimore, 1 catch for 4 yards, 4 catches for 64 yards, 1 catch for 3 yards, and 2 catches for 48 yards. So he's not getting many catches. Maybe he'll hit a deep shot or 2, but Lattimore matches up really well against these bigger receivers like Evans. So I think Mike Evans unders could be a good look here.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, let's go to the game everyone's been waiting to hear about. Monday Night Football.
Bears in prime time again.
Chicago Bears. 3.5-point home underdogs against the Minnesota Vikings. Over-under is 44. Vikings coming off a thrilling Pittsburgh Steelers win, so a little bit of a rest advantage there. The Bears lost a pretty wild Sunday Night Football game to the Packers. I think this one is pretty simple. I would never play the Vikings here, no matter who they're playing. I would never play the Vikings at -3.5 against anybody. I guess we just do what we did last week with the Bears. With the Steelers against the Vikings. Just if you want to play the Bears, wait till they get down 7, 10, 13 points and then play them live because the Vikings will let them back in the back door.
Yeah, it took the words out of my mouth. That's the play of the Vikings the rest of the season for me is if they go up early, you just bet the other team. So I know, it's Justin Fields and he hasn't looked great at times, but it's the Vikings and the Vikings outweigh that. So Bears live at I maybe wait a little longer. Like I said, I jumped into.
Yeah, we got a little too giddy last week.
Yeah, so they still almost got it, but yeah, maybe wait till the Bears go, +7, +7.5. See if you can get them there.
All right, props for you in this one.
I'm gonna be looking at both running backs. Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison, I think he's unvaccinated in COVID protocol, so yes. I don't know if he's going to be out there and that, what little work he was getting, I assume that'll just go to Dalvin, and I don't see him having any issues against this Bears defense. And then David Montgomery, I think you can run on this Vikings defense enough to where if we get David Montgomery's line in the low to mid 60s like we've been getting, I would feel comfortable taking his over.
I was actually going a different route. I was looking at the passing game here. I kind of like Kirk Cousins' longest completion over 36.5 yards and Justin Jefferson longest reception over 26.5 yards. The Bears ranked dead last in DVOA against the deep pass, and both of these plays have hit in 3 of the last 4 games. We know Cousins is certainly not afraid to take a few shots downfield, and if Justin Jefferson decides to catch the ball this week, this one should hit pretty easily.
All
right. Anything left to say?
Nope.
All right, that will wrap up our week 15 breakdown. Let's go to our long shots of the week, our favorite play at odds of +200 or longer. I believe we are both 5 and 7 on the year, so pretty good stats right here. Rue looks pretty excited. I will turn it over to you to hear.
Yes. What do you do? What do you do in primetime games? You take the guy who shines brightest under the lights, Jared Cook. Jared Cook. He is not in this for the money. He's in this for the glory. Jared Cook comes alive when the lights are brightest. Jared Cook, anytime touchdown score, +240 right now.
Do you have stats to back up this Jared Prime?
No, that was the whole joke of it last year. That's if you've been listening.
I couldn't remember if this was a real thing.
No, this is the eye test. Whereas every time I watch Jared Cook in primetime, this guy brings, and he scored earlier in the season. I can't remember who they played, but he did score in primetime, and I was kicking. It might have been against the Chiefs. I don't remember, but I was kicking myself for not taking him. So we're not making that same mistake. You take Jared Cook in primetime to score touchdowns, +240, and I'll get the numbers on this for next week. Jared Cook in prime time.
Oh, good.
So maybe there's some numbers to back this up.
All right, Jared Cook anytime touchdown. I like it. For my long shot of the week, I'm going to go with a little money line underdog parlay here. My 2 favorite dogs of the week. Give me the Texans. Give me the Bengals. +155 for the Texans. +130 for the Bengals. Parlay them together on DraftKings Sportsbook. +486. The underdog money line parlay long shot of the week.
All right.
All right, your favorite bet of the week is?
All right, I've been going back and forth, but for the first time in this podcast, I'm taking our debate of the week as my favorite bet of the week. I can kill two birds with one stone here. If they lose, I'll kill one stone with two birds, but we don't have to worry about that. Steelers +2. You take the Steelers at home as an underdog +2. Take them now, tease them, just get all the Steelers you can get this week.
All right, I will disagree with that one. Man, I'm torn here. I got so many dogs I like this week. I got Saints, Lions, Bengals. I think for my favorite bet of the week, I'm going to have to go with the Houston Texans.
Wow.
Not a team I ever thought I would be making my favorite bet of the week, but +4 here. I just cannot ever get to this number. I thought 3 was a good bet. I thought 3.5 was crazy. I'm running out of adjectives to describe what I feel about 4. This spread is absolutely insane. 39.5 is the over-under. Give me 4 points in a low total game with the worst offense this league has seen in decades. I don't even know how to describe the Jaguars offense at this point. Give me the Texans +4, favorite bet of the week.
All right, I like it.
What a week. All right. Would you like to make a chalk donkey parlay? Do you think we can get one this week?
Yeah, I actually put one in, but you could probably add a little to it. So right now, because I wanted to grab the Eagles before it moved. So I put the Eagles with I don't know if you like, I put them with the Bucks and the Cardinals, and it was even money.
I don't like the Bucks.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't.
What about the Cowboys?
Yeah, I'm fine with the Cowboys.
So Eagles, did you say Cardinals?
Yeah.
Or Niners? Okay. Eagles, Cardinals, Cowboys is -127 right now.
All right, we could probably I'm fine throwing the 49ers in there to get the plus money.
All right. I could find the 49ers. I don't even know where they are right now. All right, so if you add in the 49ers, that gets us to +121. All right, so the official play will be Cardinals, Eagles, Cowboys, Niners, moneyline parlay, +121, chalk donkey parlay of the week.
All right, I like it.
All right, good stuff. Anything left to say?
Nope.
All right, make sure to check out our Twitter page for props along the week. We did not have a ton today, but, it's kind of tough this week. There's so much COVID news and stuff. I don't even know when they're going to post the lines for after these games, but we will certainly be on top of it. So any questions, comments, or concerns, hit us up on Twitter. That is @BetRightPod. The DMs are always open. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Smash the like button on YouTube. The link to the YouTube video will be posted in the show notes of this podcast, and there will also be posted to our Twitter page. From Jeff and Rue, we are the Bet Right Sports Betting Podcast, because every time you bet with us, you bet right.